One thing I really want you to understand before we start creating service pages is that AI engines are not only pulling information from blog posts, they're pulling information directly from structured service pages as well. In many cases, these pages are actually more valuable because they actually describe what the business does and where they do it and how they solve specific problems for their customers.
So it's not only blogs that actually will rank in the search results. Service pages, which are the pages that are available on a client's site, will also rank well in the search results. You can see on the right side here that a service page is ranking for the term low water pressure, which is if someone has a problem, they're going to search something like this, and ideally they're going to find our customer in search. So generally on a website, you'll notice that there is a services navigation. Right here you can see there's a drop down, it says services. I can highlight that and I can see all of the different types of services that this business offers. These pages we call in Duda dynamic pages. So dynamic pages are basically pages that consist with a similar format. So in this case, there is a headline, there's a description, there's a picture, there's another headline, more descriptions, more picture, but all the content stays pretty much the same on that page. So whenever we add a new page, it keeps the same layout. Now, this is done through something called a collection. Inside of the Duda website editor, there are collections. You can see for this business, I have two types of collections. One is a service pages and two is a service area pages, and they're both managed in a third-party database called Airtable.
The reason dynamic pages are so powerful is because they allow you to scale content creation without rebuilding the same layout over and over and over again. Instead of manually redesigning every page, you're simply feeding structured information into a system that's already built to display it properly.
Now, what I'm going to show you here today works with both. They work with Airtable, internal collections, or anywhere where you're going to manage the content at scale. The value of this, of course, is that using Duda's MCP and Claude, I'm going to be able to not only publish blog posts as I've been showing you with the transcripts, but I can also publish service pages directly into a collection depending on what my goal and what I'm trying to accomplish is. So for example, if you look at this collection, this is the collection of all of the different service pages. If I prompt Claude to add a new row, let's say it's row 18 for a new service, it's going to go ahead and fill out all this information out, and that's going to be something that I can index inside of the search results that could be picked up by an AI. I'm going to start with a very simple real estate well inspections page. It looks like after I did some call analysis, they got 2 clear home sale inquiries about inspection plus standard water testing, etc. I'm going to go ahead and take this and add context by hitting that reply button. And now I'm going to add this prompt. And so this prompt is a skill that we have called /service page, but I want you to see it written out to better understand exactly the anatomy of how this is going to work.
And what's important here is that this isn't random AI generation. The service page is being created from actual customer conversations and actual business activity. So the page becomes significantly more aligned with real search intent and the actual problems your customers are experiencing.
It's going to find the services page collection. It's going to find the Airtable. I linked it, so it just makes it quicker since I'm making a video. And then it's going to input the content into all the fields, include the targeting for the Watertown, which is where this business is located, keep the copy personalized, write the title tag, meta tag, and URL slug, and then I gave it an example for it to actually follow. So I'm going to go ahead and run this prompt. Now that this has gone ahead and run, you can see that the service page was created and it provided me with the title tag, the meta description, what the URL is going to be, and then of course the content. You can now see that there is an 18th record here, and that record filled out all of the different things that are needed for it to create a professional piece of content. If I go ahead and open this up, I can see and I can change any of this content. I can audit it, I can review it, and I can just make sure it's targeting exactly what I want to target. So this looks pretty good to me. I'm not going to change anything here, but you may want to take a look at the actual website itself to see how the page reflected there. So when I'm in the actual editor, when I'm in the collections, for this piece of content to reflect the website, I'm just going to go ahead and tap on this refresh data field here, and that's going to refresh that table with the Duda website so the connection is synced. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and refresh it, and if I navigate down to my pages, you can see that real estate well inspections is now a page that's directly on the website, and I didn't have to do anything in the editor to create this piece of content, and it's accurate because it's what they told the customers on the call. So just by looking at this information, I can go ahead and see if anything is odd here. I can see that maybe the headline should be adjusted a little bit, but ultimately it looks okay. So now let me check the mobile version just to see how it's going to look on the mobile phone. And you can see it's going to look really good once I add a picture and maybe just make some small optimizations here. So overall, that is how you add that piece of content directly into the editor. So in this case, I went ahead and added a picture, and then I'm gonna go ahead and make these into different H tags. And now these are gonna be bigger font sizes as well. And then I'm gonna add one thing at the top here, and I added another H tag up at the top. So I wanna show you how critical it is to make these small edits if you would like. And now when I load my actual real estate well inspections page, you're gonna see that there is a photo and there are H tags. So it doesn't look like it's just one big paragraph, and these are optimized for SEO. Now that that's done, I'm gonna click the done button, and now under the service tab, because it's in our navigation, you can see that the page is actually there.
This is where the workflow starts becoming extremely scalable. Once the structure is built correctly, you can continuously create new service pages, service area pages, and localized content directly from your customer's conversation without having to manually rebuild each and every page from scratch.
So if I click on the republish button and the website does get republished and it's visible on the web, that link is going to now be in our sitemap. So if I actually take a look and I look at our Sitemap.xml file and I search real estate, you'll see that the page is actually listed here, and I can go to that live page. Now, because this is a new page, if I go into Google Search Console and I search it in the index, you're going to see that the URL is not on Google. I'm just going to go ahead and request indexing on this because in the near future, I may want to show you how this shows up in the LLMs rather quickly. That is how you go from conversation to service page directly inside of the Duda content management system. All right, so let's recap. Which feature enables the creation of multiple pages with identical layouts but unique content? That is the dynamic pages, super useful for creating structured pages like services, team members, biographies, town pages, service area pages, product pages, anything where the content's going to be different but the layout can stay the same. What is the term collection? Really what it is it's a database, either internal or hosted on a third-party platform like Airtable, used to store and manage content for dynamic pages at scale. The beauty of this is MCPs can talk to all of these. So you can utilize these dynamic pages, these databases to have an MCP push content directly to it. To ensure a newly generated service page is SEO ready, which 3 metadata elements should be included? That is going to be the title tag, the meta description, and the URL slug. This is the billboard of an LLM to analyze. They look at this information first, and then they decide to extract the data from that page. So it's really important that you optimize those for location. To reflect updates made in an external database like Airtable on Duda site, the user must initiate a refresh data command. Very simple. Inside of the Duda editor, when you're in the website builder, just click on the refresh data and all of that new data will be pushed in. Very simple for you to do. After a new service page is published, what file serves as a definitive list of verifying that the new URL is visible to all of the search engines? That's the Sitemap.xml.com. If you go on any website and you type in domain.com/sitemap.xml, you should be able to see what pages are visible to search engines and which pages are not. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. This was Service Pages with Claude MCP and Duda.